Good afternoon, class. My name is Samuel Rebels. I'm in English 1010 in Miss Christina Norman's class. We have been put to task with coming up an oral presentation over a topic that we have chose that we as Americans, or personally in the state of Georgia, that we feel that has a problem that could be fixed. We are supposed to come up with a resolution to our problem. So the problem that I have found, and it's actually sat with me for a couple of years and I've always thought about it, is actually the time that our inmates are now spending on death row. For you that do not know what death row is whenever you do a serious crime, such as murder. If you actually look back into it, back in the older days, there was a thing called an eye for an eye. So if you rob somebody, way back in times, they would actually cut your hand off for robbing. So this is an eye for an eye. If you take a life, they feel that your life should not be spared either. So in this, I've come through, thought about, done a bunch of research. So we are looking at the time that prisoners are spending on death row. So one of the first examples I want to talk about is going to be this gentleman right here. His name is Mr. Brandon Jones. He was executed in Georgia on February 3rd, 2016, just short of his 73rd birthday. What makes us so crazy is he actually sat on death row for 36 years and 4 months. That is a lot of time for Americans to actually have to pay for him to live in prison, even after he was committed twice and sentenced twice to death row. Now, where I want to get to it is, we as Americans, we pay taxes. And our taxes go to a lot of great things like schools, roads, and everything. But however, a lot of people don't realize a lot of our tax money goes into prison. And that's actually paying for these prisoners to eat, to stay. Even prisons now have TV, air conditioning, they have internet, they have all kind of things, and we're having to pay for it. So in this, I'm wanting to kind of eliminate how much we're actually having to spend on one prisoner, even if they have been sentenced to death row. Now, I'm a firm believer in, people can change, that's great. But after these people have been committed, they've appealed it, been committed again, have gotten the same sentence, it's time for us to take a look at how long we're paying for this. So, I got a couple different things I want to go over. The first one being is actually how long, and we can kind of see that pattern trend on actually how long people are staying on death row. If we look here at another graph I have that I've come up with, and this is actually deathrowpenalty.org. It goes all the way back 1982. So 1984, the average time spent in months was 74 months. Not that bad. That's what, about 4 years. That's understandable. We get into 85, 71, looking pretty good. Then we start in 86. We start seeing that trend of increasing. 87 months and 87, 86. Go back down to 80, getting a little better. 95, we start going into 95 months. 95 and 90. 91, 116 months. 93, 113. We got that constant trend going up. In 2000, 137 months. We're going. We get into 2008, it drops just a little bit, but not much. It's still 139 months. We get all the way up here to 2017, and we're looking at 243 months. That is a long time and that's like, I want to say right at 20 years that prisoners are staying on death row. So, my propaganda and the solution that I want to, try to implement is I want us to be able to come up with a law stating, how long an inmate can actually stay on death row. So through this whole time, so like I said, we're 243 months into this. Out of all of this, we are paying for them to eat for them 20 years. We're paying them to have that TV. We're paying them to do a lot of different things, and we're not seeing anything back in return other than we're forking out money. I mean, it's gotten to the point now where our jails are filling up because we're running out of room. They're having to build more jails, which is costing us more money. And that solution could be taking these people out, and not saying this in a bad way, but they could be going ahead and doing their sentence and, following through in a shorter amount of time, like we seen back in 84, when it was only 74 months. We're talking, 4 years, right at 4 years. And I can understand that. But now we're giving ex-row inmates, we're giving them time to get GEDs, college diplomas, and we're having to pay for it. So in my presentation, you're going to see a lot of things we actually are paying for, some benefits that our inmates are getting in result of being on death row for so long. You're going to see the amount of money that it takes for a prisoner each day. We're gonna kind of touch base on all of these things in my actual report. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I hope I can explain everything a little bit better in our actual presentation. But I hope you see this just as much as a problem to me as being an American, as an American taxpayer, that we cannot continue to fork out money and fork out money and fork out money and continue to people to let, live off of us. They could implement even death row inmates or X-row. X-row is actually what an inmate likes to be called because that constant reminder of death row causes such a bad psychological effect on them. These death row inmates come up with the term X-row. So you'll actually hear me say a lot of X-row in this actual presentation. I wanted you to know where that come from. But we could figure out some type of monetary compensation where an inmate actually has to work, or an X-row inmate would actually have to work in order to pay their stay while they're alive, to kind of pay back what we're having to pay out. But I hope this is a good clarification to kind of what my report is about and the problem that we're facing, and kind of a general area of direction, a way we can all as Americans fix this problem. I appreciate you taking this time to watch this video, and y'all have a lovely evening.